Thanks for clicking on this video. Now, in this part here, we'll be finishing off this the catacombs. Finally, I must say. Because, well, when you play these games, these RPGs, they don't seem that long when you're actually playing them. Like, I was actually having a lot of fun doing this. But, yeah, looking back, it's like, oh, I spent like an hour on that part? Jeez. Anyway, coming up here is this. If you look into one of these heads here, which is the left head, I think, of the snake, and you look down this sort of secret tunnel here, this is a tunnel we need to go down to find an item for the side quest. We need to complete the Axe of Ichus. Ichus. You say Ichus, I say Ichus. Let's call the whole thing off. But yeah, we won't be going down there right away. We need to go to the head here and activate the last puzzle. I'm not sure if you managed to pick that up, but I do like the dying sounds of the enemies here. And I do get the impression that part of it is just the developers having a bit of a laugh. You heard the Bone Mage there as he dies. He goes, which is very amusing. Also very creepy when I'm playing the game, and I forget that they make those sounds. I'm like fighting in a dungeon, and I hear that sort of laugh, and I think, what was that? What was that? Is there someone behind me? But yeah. Again, to talk about the voice acting again, it's fine in the cutscenes, but there are some in-game voice clips which I think the developers are put in because they're sort of joking around with us. Like, for example, when the characters level up, they have like a phrase. Like Joseph goes, I grow stronger. Which, first of all, it seems out of character for Joseph. He doesn't really seem the aggressive type. Now, when Fleece levels up, she goes, I am a clever one, which I do like. It's kind of a cocky little saying, and it does sound like something Fleece would say. And then Rosalind goes, oh yeah, she goes, I have gained new insight. Which I guess would which would be in character for a scholar like Rosalind. But then again, she seems a bit more bitchy in the cutscenes. And with that, we sort of activate the head of this snake here with the fancy blue glowing orb, as you do. And if we got it back down the head, we find this secret cavern again, and we're going to head down there to pick up the last item. And I guess after you complete the dungeon, I think this is supposed to be your way back. So I guess it would have been more efficient to complete the boss of this dungeon and then go down this tunnel on my way out, because it does lead you back near the beginning. But oh well. Unfortunately, we have a pick lock at 5. Hopefully we can. Yes, I mean, we got a U-bow, which is a fairly weak bow, but like I said before, selling items is the best way to level up, so always pick up everything. That and your inventory is limitless, so you can carry anything, so there's no reason not to pick it up. Although I do remember in the next game there are actually cursed weapons. If you use them, you will become cursed. So that was actually quite kind of an interesting aspect of the weapons they introduced. Now, to talk about the voice clips, it has just occurred to me, I think I got something wrong. It's when the characters level up, and I think I just said when Joseph levels up, he goes, I am stronger. I don't think that's what he says. I'm getting him confused with Jakar. No, yeah, it's Jakar that goes, I am stronger. And I forget what Joseph says when he levels up. But anyway, to talk about those clips for a second, they to anyone who's played the game, they do seem over the top. Like the voice actors had a bet to see how cheesy they can say these lines. Oh yeah, I think Joseph, when he leveled up, he says something like, "I am more powerful. I grow more powerful," or something. But anyway, something I'm not too keen on. It's possibly the camera angle, or maybe it's the design of the level, or maybe it's the fact that we're just underground. But you can get lost in these tunnels. And when I say lost, yes, you can get lost in a linear tunnel in this game, I find, because you can suddenly turn yourself around, and you probably won't notice. But they do give you a map, so I can't complain too much. And again, I'm using the old fire arrow technique. And if I haven't said before, it's just good because if you attack first with a fire arrow or fireball or whatever, it does mean you get an attack in first. Although this move you see here called the fireball creates an area which will continually damage the enemy. Because, which is kind of useful because poison, it doesn't really play a big part in this game, gameplay wise. You know, there are a few instances of it, but it's not a huge game mechanic. But anyway, like I said, with fireball, you can sort of see it creates a flammable area which will damage anyone who stands on it. And the trouble with the AI in this game is that they will stand in a fireball area and continue to get damaged by it. They seem fairly oblivious to it. So that can be a downside. And you can see now that we've made it through the tunnel, we sort of work our way along this sort of ledge here. This is where we find the Axe of Iccus, which will complete with the Terrified side quest. And of course you can't use the axe as a weapon, which is a shame. But you know, that would be funny if it let you use it, and you broke it because it's a fragile axe. Then the guy's like, "You broke the axe." And speaking of which, we're going to give that item to one of the monks in the older monastery. And I do wonder, is he going to tell his superior he has a relic of one of the old kings? Because, you know, that does seem like something you should bring up. But anyway, I will admit, this is a pretty cool thing for an RPG thing to do. Yeah, RPG thing is RPG. Redundant statement is redundant, but what I mean is, I do like the idea that you're floating on these giant bones. It's a good setting for a fight. And that's the thing I find with fantasy sometimes, is that the mainstream fantasy setting it still lies in the old Tolkien-esque sort of setting, and nothing against Tolkien. I'm not even really saying anything bad about him. It's just everyone else that just seems to copy his setting blindly. You know, like you got kings and queens, you got orcs, and you got elves. You know, the typical RPG stuff. Can get a bit repetitive. Anyway, to talk about the setting of this monastery, I'm not sure how it started. For example, like I said before, it's based off Iona, who's a water god, but the people who run it are human beings, who are, as you know from this game, made from the sky god, which seems a bit inconsistent. Yeah, I'll be interested to know how this sort of whole situation got started. And also, not to mention, this is also built on the grave of the Earth god's body, Vadagar. And we find out later that the Earth people are not too keen on this whole idea. You know, they would rather have their sacred bones of their god back, which does make sense. But then again, it is implied later on that the Kosani were once the dominant civilization, or at least on this continent. So I guess the backstory is that the Gosani ruled what we now call Medieval, with like a whole huge kingdom, and one day he got ruined by a flood. But anyway, I do like the Gosani, the Earth people, and we'll be meeting those guys later on. When I was putting this footage together, I was slightly concerned that maybe watching me cast fire arrow would get kind of repetitive. And you know what? It kind of is. But on the bright side, I am glad I sort of crossfade through most of these battles. So through my grace, I have showed you, the viewer, some sort of mercy. But anyway, I am pleased I chose to LP this game. Granted, it was kind of a struggle to record, you know, with an RPG series being so long and full of side quests. But and on YouTube there isn't many playthroughs of this game, and you can see here we find ourselves directly at the beginning of the level. So, yep, there you go. But like I was saying, there aren't too many playthroughs of this game on the internet. So yeah, I'm pleased I'm contributing to the few that are doing it. And now we head off to the middle head, and this is where we find our boss of the dungeon. And we can also find that pesky ring of light. The resky ping of light. That's what we're getting. One ping to rule them all, one ping to find them, and in the darkness bind them. Oh, here it goes. Oh, these guys again. Now, as for these enemies, they do appear later on in the game in a slightly more difficult form, but saying that, they're even less of a threat here than they are there. What? What I mean is they're just enemies, really. Especially later on when you can actually get some decent blunt weapons. And we talk to this guy, who's a knight. Oh, and I love Rosalind's comments. We'll see it soon here. Knight of the Order of Iona? Oh, Rosalind whispers, he would have died centuries ago. Rosalind, he's a fucking skeleton, okay? Yeah, I think he would have died centuries ago. Of course he would have. I think he did. He's clearly undead. Now, as for this boss here, I can't really give you too much advice on him. Just make sure your party is fully healed, and also cast Bless, if you can, Bless and Protect to reduce the number of to reduce the damage of physical and magical attacks if you have them. You know, make sure your party is fully healed up, then go in guns blazing, I suppose. Oh, and also I still have the Fiery Falcon equipped, which also helps. Now we see here the whole setting of this monastery is to be the tomb of the goddess Iona, which I'll get to that in a minute, because that's actually pretty odd for this game. Well, I mean it's odd when you consider the lore of the universe. When I say lore, I mean the mythology, but dramatic camera angle.
By the blood of Urath,
By the wings of Vectron. Shouldn't there be a body there?
I am Vadigar, god of the Kosani. consort of doomed Iona. Who dares violate
Oh my
the
god, he can move.
tomb
He
of
can
my
talk without
queen?
moving his lips.
He's gone mad. He thinks he's a god.
Well, he is immortal technically, so you know he can make a good case for being a god. But anyway, this guy, he isn't really that difficult. What might give you trouble is the fact that there are other bone mages slightly off camera, and they might heal or attack you. But yeah, I'll just attack this guy with the Fiery Falcon and just hope for the best, really. And heal if I ever get into trouble. Now, you can sort of see in the background there is the body of Iona. Which makes me wonder what exactly is she there? Because if you've played the sequel, there are like a people of the water called the Munari. And she seems to be a member of those people, which does make sense, because they are supposed to be the people of the water god. But what essentially, what I'm thinking, is that the body of a god there? Because that would seem odd. But anyway. Like I said, I'm fighting this guy, and occasionally the Fiery Falcon casts Fireball. The Fiery Falcon casts Fireball ferociously, and it's fantastic. Now, something I'm trying to do with Fleece here is use the backstab ability.
No!
Yeah, that didn't really work out. Or did it? Well, I've heard that the backstab ability is overpowered in this game. And the very first time I played it, I didn't really use it, but you can see here with Fleece, I'm trying to use her backstab ability to you know, try and finish off this guy. But really, once the two bone mages are gone, yeah, this guy becomes pretty, I don't want to say easy, but you can see he's taken out two of my party members, but it just becomes a war of attrition now. You just got to keep fighting him and fighting him. There, and you can see he's already gone. Below on the bright side, once he dies, he does give off some very useful items. But then again, all the bosses do, so fair enough. Oh, he's gonna self-destruct. Here we go, the Sharp Dagger. Which, yeah. Although my Energy Dagger is better, so I'll keep with the one I've got. The Precise Falcon. Yeah. I think the Fiery one's more useful, if I'm honest. The Health Tonic. Okay, and the Sword of Spirits, which, yeah, I guess it's a bit more useful. It has a chance of casting a Fire Arrow. But unfortunately I can't use it yet, because Joseph needs to level up his Heavy Arms skill. And this is, again, another good example of why you should cast, why you should level up Heal to get the Resurrect spells. And this is what I'm... Oh, yeah, now the Ring of Light to complete the actual story quest, which I'd forgotten about. But yeah, this is Iona, so... Is that the body of an actual goddess? Because we find out in the sequel that, you know, that can't really be possible, because gods aren't exactly what you think they are. Yeah, so there we go, that's something to wonder about, I suppose. And with that, we've completed this dungeon. It was quite a long, hard struggle, but thanks for staying with me.